Malaysia's answer to Rolls-Royce. Are the cars bulletproof?
They can be if you want them to be.
And everybody doing this is Malaysian.
Everyone that's
right
doing
here.
this is 100% Malaysian made.
You probably never realized Malaysia has their own brand of really cool luxury cars. It's called Bufori. We're gonna check it out inside and see how they're actually made right here in KL. Andrew?
Jerry Curry.
Jerry Curry.
How are you?
We're doing well.
Very good. Heard all about you.
We thought because you're Lebanese Australian,
right,
maybe you decided on Malaysia just because it's conveniently in the middle.
No, nothing to do with that at all.
What brought you here?
Just an invitation by the government
Yeah.
to pick up what we're doing in Australia and transfer it all to Malaysia.
So you were making luxury cars in
I
Australia.
was making Bufori. I started Bufori. I founded Bufori in Australia, in Sydney in 1986. The majority of the cars we were making were being exported to Southeast Asia.
Really?
And then the Malaysian government saw what we were doing and literally invited us over. The King of Malaysia invited us, and we thought, oh my God, if the King and the Prime Minister are inviting us to come over,
You have no choice.
what do you want from a country?
It's the ultimate nomad capitalist story.
Exactly,
You live in Australia. Did they treat you well there? But
Yeah,
they treat you a
did.
lot better here.
Well, I'm born in Australia. I'm an Australian.
Yeah.
My parents migrated there after the Second World War and
From Lebanon.
from Lebanon.
So tell us about these cars. This is like Gatsby vibes.
Exactly. So we've got a long history. We've got a lot of models. We've got basically 40 years of history that I'm going to try and shrink into a very short period of time for you. But what we're looking at right now is what we call a Bufori La Joya. La Joya is a Spanish word which means the jewel. And one of the only options you can have with these cars is any kind of jewel you want, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, and that's usually the kind of option you get. These cars are very well equipped. There's nothing else you could add to it. It's got absolutely everything in it. So from seat massaging to seat cooling, the ultimate of everything is built into this car from the very beginning. And the second-hand value of these cars actually is more than a brand new car, even while it's still in production. So a lot of cars appreciate in value when the production stops. A Bufori appreciates in value even while it's still being produced.
How many Buforis here in Malaysia on the road today?
Surprisingly, Malaysia is our smallest market.
Okay.
Internationally, we've got these cars in 40 countries around the world. It is one of our most successful models. There are 300 of these floating around in different parts of the world, and they can range from Germany, all over the Middle East, China, Australasia.
So not
They've
just
got it
right-hand
everywhere.
drive, there's
Oh, no,
left-hand
of course
drive
not.
also. How many cars will you produce here in Malaysia for the brand every year?
Right up until just before COVID, we were making an average of between 25 and 35 cars a year.
Very boutique.
That's very boutique. It doesn't sound like a lot of cars, but these are cars that are literally made only by hand. There are no machines. And we don't assemble a car. We don't buy parts from people and put them together. We make a car from nothing. So we make the body, we make the chassis, we make all the suspension, we make all the interior, we make the seats, we make the dashboard, we make all the electronic architecture. We make a car. In fact, we make more of a car than probably anybody else on the planet.
Yeah, people hear, oh, Rolls-Royce is very customized.
Right, but they buy
more.
parts and components and assemble. A lot of their parts come from BMW or whoever. We don't do that. Most of our parts are literally made for the car, and we make it all in-house. We'll take it for a walk and show you later.
Yeah, let's see it. This is pretty cool.
So these are restorations. So Bufori is divided into a few subgroups. So our prime business is we make cars like these. That's our first business. A secondary business we've got is we do restorations like these, and you'll see lots of this in the factory. Restorations like these mean we take old cars and we restore them back to their original glory. One of the things we also do is what we call Resto-Mods. Sometimes people buy old cars like these, bring them to us, ask us to restore it, but modify it with modern technology along the way. And what we do is at a different level altogether than anybody else in the world. Our workmanship, our standards, our craftsmanship is literally something if you don't experience, you would never appreciate the refinement and attention to detail.
I look at a lot of the classic cars. To me, a lot of cars look too modern these days.
Correct,
So I look at getting the classic cars, and then I realize you get some car from 1969, there's no power steering,
That's
there's
right,
no this, there's no that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an example of a restoration, not a Resto-Mod. And everything on this,
Look at this old school windscreen.
well, that's the air conditioning in those days.
Yeah.
No power steering, no power brakes, it's all mechanical brakes. The engine compartment, very simple. But we're able to do things like even the wiring is all braided, period correct. So we respect what they used to do back in their days. Of course, the car becomes better than the original car was. Even opening and closing the windows, you only need light finger work. You don't need to use all the muscles. You have to crank
really
them.
a palaver to do it
Correct,
on those old cars, yeah.
We do nice tuck and roll leather work. We use leather instead of PVC. So we do all that sort of thing. But that's a secondary part of the job. So this is the storyboard. Basically, it all started in 1986 and worked its way right through to where we are today. Lots of history.
It all started in the veritable
the back of the
garage.
Well, I built a garage at the back of the house.
the back
bigger
of the
than
house. Like a Silicon Valley story.
Correct, yeah. These are just examples of what we do. We do a lot of interior design work, so we build private garages for car collectors. We do a lot of odd jobs. We're making a roof on a house at the moment.
Really?
A very, very expensive roof that's technically impossible to produce. It's out of advanced composites.
They said you're a craftsmanship company, so you do. We were in the helicopter yesterday,
Right.
private jets.
So we do helicopters, we do aeroplanes. We'll do anything that no one else can do. And we do them at a different level. It's all about, the refinement of life. Yeah, so all the magazines, we got an interesting story about Motor Magazine. That's way back in 1990 or thereabouts.
Malaysia's answer to Rolls-Royce. Is the factory here in KL? They said it's in Kachang?
Yeah, we're in Kuala Lumpur. We're in the heart of KL.
Right here.
So we're 7 kilometers outside of KL, downtown.
Yep. This is La Joya.
That's a La Joya. That's a very old one. This is at least 20 years old. It just arrived from Terengganu, and Terengganu is about 500 kilometers away. And it's just here for a quick service, and it'll get redelivered.
There's people in Terengganu driving this.
Yes, there are, yeah. So in Malaysia, this model, there's about 12. So we don't have a lot of cars. We've got 12 of those in Malaysia, and we've got 12 of these in Malaysia.
Yeah, we rode in the Geneva.
Correct, yeah. So these old cars that you see, most of these come from all around the world. Ford Mustang, that's another La Joya, E-Type Jaguars. We've got 4 of these.
These are yeah.
These are very desirable.
This is one of the great
And
Jaguars.
when we do these, the value of the cars is just astronomical. I think they're worth a lot more money than they get in public auctions.
So if I send my car in, is there a customs issue? Am I importing that at high duty?
You importing it temporarily. You pay a bond, but you get it back when you re-export the car.
So there's no penalty for
No
bringing your car to
penalty for bringing
Malaysia?
it in. No, not at all.
If you send
not
it
at
out.
all. Not at all. And a lot of these cars do come from all around the world. You can see outside there are plenty of them. So this is where we actually make the car body. What this is basically carbon fiber and Kevlar, state-of-the-art material. Bufori is the first car in the world to be made out of these materials. It started way back in 1987. You could not buy carbon fiber and Kevlar
Carbon fiber and Kevlar
together, hybrid
Are
material.
the cars bulletproof?
They can be if you want them to be, and we do make, a lot of our customers do request bullet resistance. The most common one is level 2, so 9mm guns, 44 Magnum, shotguns.
And nothing's really bulletproof.
That's correct, yeah. So we can build armor-resistant vehicles even. So we have ceramic technology where we can stop armor-piercing bullets from entering the vehicle. We can pressurize the cabin. We build vehicles bespoke. So whatever you want, we don't say no to. We'll find a way to make it happen.
If I have a car in Malaysia already, can you armor the car?
Yes, we can. And we also do that.
Maria's going to make a note. We're going to armor our cars.
And these 2 materials is carbon fiber and Kevlar. The black one is carbon. Very light, very strong. And you can break that, but it'll take a lot. Be careful. Here. Okay, maybe it's a bit too thick for you. But this is
You're telling
Kevlar,
me.
and this you're not going to break. Even if I gave you a very small strand, if I just take a tiny strand of this
Yeah.
and You can break that, but that's thinner than hair. Just be careful with your fingers. Be careful. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can break it.
That's the right
if
thickness.
If there was one strand, you wouldn't break it. And what makes this special is if you look at that complicated shape, you try and wrap any fabric around that, you're going to get a pleat. And if you have an accident, basically that's a weak point, and you're adding extra weight. So these fabrics allow us to massage the fabric dry with no resin, with no bonding material, completely dry. We're able to massage that fabric into shape without opening the fabric up. So the fabric inside is still nice and tight. So that's a mold, and we make the whole car exactly the same way. So inside the mold you have the carbon Kevlar, you can see there, and then you put all this magical stuff on top. We've got the carbon Kevlar, many layers, and we have a manifold at each end. There's one there and there's one there. You block one and you suck the air out. And when that's finished, that particular part there is a door skin. Feel the weight of that. Just be careful, it's sharp, super light.
Light.
But super strong. 7 times stronger than steel and 7 times lighter than aluminium.
So why isn't everyone using this?
Because it's expensive.
Well,
And
that's probably good.
A is expensive, B is Kevlar is very difficult to work with. Kevlar, you can't cut them with scissors, you can't cut them with a knife.
You can't put this on an assembly line as easily.
You can't work it as easily. It's not forgiving. It's very difficult
It's not
to work
suitable
with.
for mass production
No,
yet.
it's not yet. And we make the foam that goes on the seats. When you sit on a seat of a Bufori, you choose the density of the foam.
Like a mattress.
So, like a mattress, exactly. Do you want to sleep in the mattress or on the mattress? Do you want to sit in the seat or on the seat?
It is true that in Asia, people tend to like harder mattresses.
Harder seats, that's right.
And harder seats, yeah.
So we can make the foam that goes on the seats any density you want.
You can really customize your car.
So over here is where we do our leather work. What's special about our leather is we use the most expensive and the finest leathers in the world. Bufori cars are not designed around the price. They're designed around the standard and the quality. So when we look for materials, raw materials, we only look for the best. We're never shopping around who's got a cheaper product than someone else. It's all about the best the money can buy. These leathers are the most expensive leathers in the world. Our carpets, likewise, are all German. They're also the most expensive carpets you can buy with money. Even our handmade carpets, unquestionably the most expensive handmade carpet you can buy. But that's what it takes to build a car like this, and that's what we do. What we also do is the techniques are very unique. There's a technique known as in the automotive industry called tuck and roll. And that's what they call tuck and roll leather. But if that's tuck and roll, then I'm Chinese. As simple as that.
Is this Rolls Royce?
Yes, it is.
That's what they give you.
So this is really tuck and roll. You make a roll, and then you tuck the foam into the roll. And this is the right way to do it. Not many people do it these days. In fact, you can probably count them on one hand, the people
So
that
how
can
is
still
this
do
different?
this. So they end up with the same result. But if you try to clean this, first thing, if you try to clean this, the thread, which is the sewing part, gets dirty and you can't clean the thread. Second part is it's rigid, it's one piece. So when you're sitting on that, you're sitting on one piece. And you can see how rigid that is. Now when I make this, look how flexible it is. So each part is going to fold or massage to the shape of your bum. Quilting, and we've got different patterns. We try not to repeat these patterns. These patterns are unique to every single car.
Right.
So a customer might say, I want this particular shape or that dimension, and we'll make that exactly according to what they want.
Everyone's car looks unique.
Every car is unique. Colors are never repeated. Pattern designs. And one of the other things that we specialize in is hand stitching. So that's a review mirror. But if you look at the stitching around there, it's all done by needle and thread. And like is much of the leather work in our cars.
And everybody doing this is Malaysian.
Everyone that's
right
doing
here.
this is 100% Malaysian made. So we buy an engine, we buy a transmission, we buy brake calipers, we buy a few things. We make more of the car than you can possibly imagine. And this is something else we're very proud of, is the Malaysian flag. Every car we produce has a Malaysian flag attached to it. Look at the finishing, the detail. And as I said, everything's about quality. The world's most expensive tools, Snap-on from the US. The most expensive tools come with every single car we make.
So I pushed this button here, and my footrest came down.
That's right.
This is the most sumptuous. This is lamb's wool.
That's lamb's wool, correct. If you press the first button on the door, yes, that one there, yeah. Okay, now relax. I'll do the same.
I rarely relax, but I'll try.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that helps.
Here you've got a $4,000 teapot.
You can bring your TWGT.
And that's the rubbish bin for the tea leaves. There's
Right.
another one that goes in front with all your insignia and stuff. It's not in here at the moment. It's all magnetic. It holds itself down. You don't have to do anything. It just stays there. You put your teapot there. Now you want boiling water. If you boiled water at home, it'll take you a couple of minutes to boil water. But in this car, we don't store boiling water. We produce it on demand. And we produce boiling water in less than 2 seconds. And here we go. Don't touch. It's 98 degrees Celsius. You'll see the heat.
Hey, wow.
Is that hot enough?
That's a big puff of steam coming out there.
And we've also got the most amazing air quality inside the car. So the air quality, we've got ionizers, air purifiers, air fresheners. And then you can put your favorite perfume in the glove box.
Okay.
And set up on a timer. It'll spray as frequently as you want. And then before you step out of the car, you want to smell nice, you want to refresh yourself a little bit.
Any fragrance?
Any fragrance you like.
Yeah.
Like the car, that blue car is set up with Chanel Allure Sport for men.
Okay.
And you hit this button once, and it'll spray your perfume through that vent onto you before you step out of the car. So what we have is a 6.4 litre V8 engine. It is one of the finest engines in the world. It's a multiple displacement engine. The best thing about this engine, it delivers massive horsepower, 500 horsepower, and its fuel consumption is mind-blowing, 15 litres per 100 kilometres. It's an amazing powertrain, absolutely amazing. We use the 8-speed transmission from ZF.
So for Americans, that's about 16 miles a gallon.
I'm not sure what it is in miles,
yeah.
but it's an amazing, very, very good efficiency for such a big car and with such a big engine. 500 horsepower, 6,400 cc's.
Wow. Is there a fear when Western countries demand electric vehicles?
No, not at all. We're not fans of batteries. We're fans of electric vehicles, but we're not fans of batteries.
Right.
But we do have a technology that we're trying to develop ourselves where we can eliminate batteries altogether. And instead of running batteries, what we run is cooking oil, using a very unusual engine to produce electricity.
Like a sustainable aviation fuel.
It is. Well, yes, biofuel.
Yeah.
And we run a set of capacitors rather than batteries. So we only produce energy and store energy for very short periods of time. This is actually a Ford Galaxy. It's a Resto-Mod. It's an example of a restoration and a modification along the way.
What year is this from?
And this is a 1961.
Okay.
This one was restored about 2 years ago. It's come back for the very first time because you guys are... And all the technology in here is current. So it looks classic, but it's a very current car.
Custom Resto-Mod by Bufori.
Yeah.
With your signature.
And just put your foot on the brake.
Even the key is brand new.
Yeah. So it's all period correct.
Wild.
So you still have the traditional window winder.
Parking brake.
Park brake is electric.
Seat belt, everything.
Everything's there. Sound system is
there an AM radio?
Correct, yeah.
Where's
but
the
it's
AM?
all Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay.
Yeah. No AM.
You have AM as well, actually,
yeah?
you do. It's there somewhere.
It's there somewhere.
You're going to look at the engine on this car.
These were the good old days when you could store bodies in the trunk.
A few bodies, a few bodies in there.
It's like Vegas style.
Storage compartments, and it's all little details like these.
Would you've added the safety feature of the interior release?
Well, this has got everything in it. So if someone's inside, this one doesn't have the release, but we can do them.
Yeah.
And we do them most of the time. This is a show car though, but this is a driving
maybe
show
this person
car.
wants the bodies.
But it gives you an idea of what Bufori is all about.